The kind of cold that slips through every crack in your clothing, no matter how tightly you wrap yourself. Snow lined the sidewalks in uneven piles, turning gray from passing cars. The city was awake, but no one seemed truly alive. People moved quickly, eyes forward, shoulders tense, each person locked inside their own worries. Time was money here, and stopping meant falling behind. At a quiet bus stop near 7th Avenue, an old wooden bench stood beneath a flickering streetlight. The paint had peeled away years ago. Snow had settled into its cracks. On that bench sat Daniel Howard. Daniel was 61. His hair was mostly gray, though traces of dark brown stubbornly clung near his temples. His face carried the marks of a life that had once been full, deep lines around the eyes, a jaw that had known strength, and eyes that still held intelligence, even if the world no longer bothered to look. His coat was thin and outdated, the kind someone buys when life is stable and keeps long after life has fallen apart. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the cold that had settled deep into his bones. Daniel wasn't holding a sign. He wasn't asking for spare change. He wasn't trying to catch anyone's attention. He had learned that asking only made people uncomfortable. So he sat quietly, staring at the snow-covered pavement, trying to make himself small. Dozens of people passed him. Some glanced briefly, their expressions tightening before they looked away. Others pretended he wasn't there at all. A few stepped wider around the bench, as if poverty were contagious. Daniel noticed all of it. He always did. Just a few feet away, a young woman hurried down the sidewalk, her boots crunching against the snow. Her name was Emma Williams. Emma was 25, already exhausted in ways people twice her age often were. She was a public school teacher during the day, teaching children who came from homes as fragile as Daniel's life had become. In the evenings, she worked part-time at a cafe to cover rent, student loans, and groceries. She wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. She was just trying to survive. That morning, Emma was late. She checked her phone and quickened her pace, her mind racing through lesson plans, unfinished grading, and a meeting she dreaded. She walked past the bus stop without stopping. Then something tugged at her, not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet discomfort that refused to be ignored. Emma stopped. She turned around. Daniel was still there, sitting perfectly still. A sharp gust of wind cut through the street, and his shoulders shook as he braced himself against the cold. He didn't complain. He didn't curse the weather. He didn't reach out. He simply endured. That was what broke through Emma's rush. She walked back toward the bench. "Sir," she said gently. "Are you okay?" Daniel looked up, startled. His eyes widened slightly, as if he hadn't expected to be spoken to. "Yes," he said after a moment. "I'm fine, miss." His voice was calm but tired, the kind of tired sleep doesn't fix. Emma didn't argue. Instead, she lifted the cup of coffee she was holding. "It's still warm," she said. "Please, take it." Daniel's hands lifted instinctively, then stopped. "I'm not asking for anything," he said quickly, a trace of embarrassment in his voice. Emma smiled, not out of pity, but reassurance. "I know," she said. "I just wanted to share." After a long pause, Daniel accepted the cup with both hands. His fingers wrapped around it as if it were something precious. He took a careful sip. Then another. He closed his eyes. The warmth spread through him slowly, almost painfully. It wasn't just the coffee, it was the realization that, for one brief moment, he wasn't invisible. "Thank you," he whispered. Those two words carried years of silence inside them. Emma sat down beside him. The bus wasn't due for a few more minutes. They sat quietly at first. Then Emma spoke again. "Do you come here often?" Daniel gave a small smile. "Every morning." There was a pause. "I used to work nearby," he said finally. "Back when things were different." Emma listened. "I worked at a manufacturing plant for 23 years, Daniel continued. "Good job. Steady pay. I had a house, a wife, a son." His voice wavered, just slightly. "The plant shut down. The company moved overseas. I found part-time work, but it wasn't enough. Then my wife got sick." Daniel stared at the steam rising from the coffee. "Cancer," he said quietly. "The treatments were expensive. I sold the car. Then the house. I thought I was doing the right thing." Emma swallowed hard. "She passed away 2 years later," Daniel went on. "My son blamed me. Maybe I blamed myself too." He left. We stopped talking. Daniel exhaled slowly. One bad year turned into another, he said. And then I was here. He gestured vaguely at the street. People think folks like me are lazy, he added. But most of us worked hard our whole lives. We just ran out of chances. Emma felt her throat tighten. The bus pulled up to the curb, doors hissing open. People boarded quickly, eager to escape the cold. Emma stood, but she didn't move toward the bus. Have you eaten today? She asked. Daniel shook his head. Without hesitation, Emma reached into her bag and pulled out the sandwich she had packed for herself. She held it out. Daniel tried to protest. You don't have to. I know, Emma said softly. But I want to. He accepted it. God bless you, he said, his voice breaking despite his effort to stay composed. Emma boarded the bus at last. As it pulled away, she looked back through the window. Daniel sat on the bench, eating slowly, carefully. He was smiling. For Emma, the day moved on. For Daniel, something had shifted. The next morning, Emma returned. Daniel was there again, sitting on the same bench. When he saw her, his face brightened. You came back, he said. I told you I would, Emma replied. They talked again, and again the next day. And the next. Emma brought gloves, a scarf, sometimes just conversation. She listened to Daniel's stories, about his old job, his wife's laugh, his son as a child. She never rushed him. She never talked down to him. She treated him like a human being. One afternoon, Emma walked Daniel to a nearby shelter that helped people find work and housing. She stayed with him through the intake process. Weeks passed. One morning, Emma took a photo of Daniel sitting on the bench and posted it online. This is Daniel. He's kind, hardworking, and deserves another chance. The post spread. Strangers sent clothes, food, words of encouragement. A local repair shop offered Daniel a part-time job. Daniel showed up early every day. He worked harder than anyone expected. That part-time job became full-time. 6 months later, Daniel stood in a small apartment of his own. It wasn't fancy, but it was warm, clean, and his. One afternoon, Daniel walked into Emma's school, holding a small wrapped box. I bought this with my first full paycheck, he said. Inside was a framed photo, the day Emma gave him coffee. At the bottom, a note read, "When the world ignored me, you saw me." Emma cried. You didn't give me money, Daniel said gently. You gave me my life back. Final message. Kindness doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes, it's just stopping. And sometimes, that's enough to change everything.